Welcome, everyone, to the Kia Knicks postgame show. Game 4 in Atlanta. Trae Young and the Hawks had their way. As Young, another big game, 27 points and 9 assists. John Collins had 22. The Hawks, great balance again. They had 6 players in double figures. Young from deep had the 27-point afternoon, and the Hawks now lead the series 3-1 as they win Game 4, 113-96. Great to have you with us, everybody. Our expanded post-game coverage right here on MSG. Bill Pito, along with Wally Zerbiak from our Delta MSG studios. Across the way, we have Monica McNutt and Alan Hahn. And, you know, I think at this point, when you look at the last couple of games, the Hawks have more weapons, and the Knicks are just not shooting the ball well enough, Wally.
No, they're not. They have the best player in the series, Trae Young. The way he's creating and the matchup problems that he's causing the Knicks is opening up the game completely on the offensive end of the floor. It's coming so much easier for the Atlanta Hawks. And the benches, like we said, have flip-flopped, partially because you took Derrick Rose off the Knicks bench and partially because Atlanta at home really fed off that crowd. Danilo Gallinari, 21 points, looked like a completely different player in the 2 games at home than he did at MSG. Now, the Knicks are down 3-1, but they're not done. We saw a lot of 3-1 comebacks last year in the bubble. They got to just take one game at a time. I know it's cliche. Try to get this win at home on Wednesday, and maybe you can get yourself back in the series, have a shot to beat them in Atlanta again.
Game 5 is Wednesday, pregame at 7, game 7:30, expanded postgame show after Game 5 on Wednesday night. Monica got a new coat for the game, and even that didn't help. Come on, Monica.
Thank you, because I needed that smile.
It looks terrific, though.
Thank you. I needed that smile. I'm with Wally. The thing we're going to hold on to is first of 4. They're down 3-1. They come home on Wednesday. And if the Atlanta Hawks crowd at State Farm Arena can do that for the Hawks, then hopefully you get the same sort of support from the Garden. We know that the Garden turns out the best crowds.
Yeah, and you got to see really where they go from here as a group, because what we've seen now in the 2 games in Atlanta is it's a pocket of each game where it pretty much turns and then it's pretty much game over. And that's literally what happened in this game, and we'll talk about it a little bit more, I'm sure. The start of that third quarter is when they're going to lament and they're going to talk about the most, not being ready. But it's really been about something that Doris Burke said on the broadcast. The Hawks seem to score at times at ease, at will, against the best defense in the NBA. The Knicks, every possession, guys, feels like a struggle.
Knicks from downtown, only 9 of 29. Second straight game they struggle. And remember, one of the keys for the Knicks during that regular season success was the shooting from downtown. It hasn't been evident the last couple of games. And Allen touched on it, Wally, that third quarter this afternoon. Atlanta begins the second half on a 15-5 run, and just like that, the Knicks were down by 14 points.
Yeah, that Atlanta starting unit they're tough. You know, they got shooters all around Trae Young. They have 2 rim protectors, great rebounders, and there's not a big margin for error. And Trae Young seems to love to hit that dagger shot when the Knicks make a mistake. All of a sudden, he comes down, knocks down a 3. You know, Knicks got a little careless. I think Derrick Rose looked like he ran out of a little bit of gas in that third quarter. You know, he's great to start the game and in the first half, but in that second half, I'll tell you, the Atlanta Hawks did not miss from the 3-point line. They got John Collins going this game, which is a little bit of a problem because they've been able to keep him under wraps for most of the series. And then Trae Young continuing to talk trash, taunt the Knicks. It's so frustrating to watch him just get under the Knicks' skin and then just kind of needle them and pour salt in their wounds. Hey, they're going to have their home fans. They're going to have a chance to get this game back at home. I would like to see Peyton getting a shot. I just think Rose, as well as he's playing, you don't have to worry about him. If he comes off the bench, if he starts, it doesn't matter. He knows how to play in these games. He knows how to get production. You need one more guy in this rotation because the Hawks are deep, and they're getting production up and down their roster, those guys that play. Give Peyton another shot. I wouldn't give up on him completely on the season. I know he struggled at times during the season, but he was a key component. If you can get him going on offense, maybe he can help you on the defensive end of the floor with Trae Young.
To Wally's point, Monica and Allen, Derrick Rose great in the first half with 16 points, but only scored 2 points in the second half.
1 of 6 from the field in that game. Sorry, Monica. But because I wanted to jump off of what Wally was saying, to understand what Wally's trying to suggest is going back to the rotation, not necessarily, I don't think, Elfrid Payton playing a ton of minutes, but just that they had a certain rotation that they were just going with. And if you look at it, the first 2 games, the bench plus 66. In the 2 games in Atlanta, the bench minus 12. And that includes garbage time where all the benches were in the game.
And the biggest piece that was now no longer coming off the bench was Derrick Rose, right? And so I was never necessarily in on Derrick Rose starting in the first place, but I do think that it's important to point out today, particularly in the first quarter, we saw the Knicks being deliberate to get to the paint, to put Trae Young in some switches, and it worked. It yielded fruit. The problem is those runs, right? They are so deadly. And it was really interesting earlier. We had a conversation with Drew Hanlon on our Twitter space hosted by the Knicks earlier, and he talked about how guys get in their heads. And more than anything, y'all, at this point, we know that Julius is in his head, and it seemed like it trickled down to the rest of the team today because they just couldn't get out of their own ways on layups at points.
Yeah, Drew Hanlon, the trainer that
Yes.
works with players like R.J. Barrett and has gotten R.J. Barrett to become a good shooter and a stable shooter. And in fact, R.J. Barrett had himself a solid game. His first good game of the series. He did go for 21 points in this game on 8 of 15 shooting, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Now, who here on the group has said make Trae Young shoot from downtown?
I agree. He said it. I agree.
guess
This is the
what?
one that said make him play defense.
I said make him play defense.
Guess what, guys? Trae Young went 4 of 14 from downtown, and it didn't matter because he had a great game with 27 points. So much for that strategy. That didn't work either.
But it becomes pick your poison, though, Pito. Like, the bottom line is we have established that Trae has been the best player on the
See
floor.
what he's trying to do here, though, Monica? He's trying to divide us.
No,
This
come
is what
on.
he's doing.
This is when we gotta stay together.
Divided. We got to stay together because the problem wasn't the fact that they were letting him shoot. He took 14. That's the one. One he made was off of a terrible turnover, and he was wide open. But a lot of times, you let him take these. The logo ones, a couple are going to go in, and the crowd's going to get excited. He's going to start chirping, which is what he's been doing a lot of. But that's what you can't let happen. You can't let him drive into you and draw these cheap fouls. Let him take those, because, by the way, he's not passing the basketball when he's chucking and ducking. I don't mind this, and he can do all the I'm cold and all that other stuff he wants to do, but you're also freezing out everybody else around you.
Exactly, and so that's why I still stand with Han. Let him shoot 4 of 14. Don't let him get in that paint and sling the ball all over the place and have umpteen assists.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening over there, Bill. Monica and I, though, we're staying solid.
Me and Wally, we don't get along. I'm really glad you guys are here to watch this with us in the green room because who knows what the dynamics would have been given what's going on here. However, despite Young's problems from downtown, the Hawks as a team shot 15 of 39 from 3. And that, you got Herter, you got Bogdanovich, you got Gallo, you got Collins. You have so many weapons from deep.
Yeah, and DeAndre Hunt, and
Hunter, right.
He can shoot too. Yeah, this team is put together very nicely, and with the way they open up the floor and with Trae Young can get into the paint, make things happen. And Trae Young, he takes some dumb shots too. 4 for 14. It looked like he made more and shot a better percentage than that, but he takes 4 threes that don't even have a chance to go in. So when he stops taking those dumb shots, he's a capable three-point shooter from out there. You got to pick your poison with him. The Knicks got to figure out a way to slow him down. They've tried everything and nothing's worked.